This is your phone.
Let's see.
Where's my?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Now call this regular meeting of the City Council of the Village of the Hills to order. It is January 13th, 2026. It is 9:10 a.m. Thanks for the patience. We had a minor technical difficulty. We have in attendance all City Council members. So let us begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and join us in honoring the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. At this time, we'll now move on to public comment. Members of the public may address the City Council during the public comment period on items which may or may not be on the agenda. Speakers must address all comments and questions to the presiding officer and limit their comments to 3 minutes. Inquiries from speakers about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to the staff or placed on a future agenda for council consideration. All right, there is no public comment. There are also no presentations scheduled today. So we can move on to item 5, consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be not be a separate discussion of these items. If a discussion is desired by any council member on any item, it will be removed from the consent agenda to be considered separately. And it says approve the minutes of December 9th, 2025 regular city council meeting. I did provide Angie some text comments and then arranging one of the items and votes. But I don't know if anybody else had anything else to add.
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
As amended.
As amended. Second to that. Amended.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Motion carries. Moving on to 6A, law enforcement report.
All right, so for the month of December, calls for service is going to be 15 directed patrols, assist complainants 23, 7 911 hangups, 1 select traffic enforcement, 4 suspicious vehicles, 2 suspicious persons, no trespassing complaints. We had 4 follow-up investigations, 1 false alarm, burglary alarm, 6 assisting EMS, 10 community contacts, 1 harassment complaint, 2 assist motorists, 1 disturbance, 1 theft, 1 check welfare, and family disturbance 1. We had a total of 50 traffic stops. For the month of December, I didn't put anything for citations or warnings just because some of the guys forgot to notate in the card if they wrote a citation or warning. So I didn't want to put the numbers in and not be accurate. So that comes out to a total of 131 incidents for the month of December.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Will you have the numbers
Same
where
question you
it's
have.
like lost?
Yeah, so it'll be lost just because whenever they make a card for a traffic stop, usually the guys are good about putting the offense / citation or warning. But we had a couple guys this past month. They just forgot to put, they put in their CAD number and the ticket number, but they didn't put the offense or if it was a citation.
But wouldn't we know the citation number? Like you'd have the citations.
So yeah, I would have to get access from one of the sergeants to pull up everybody's traffic stops.
Yeah.
And then cipher through all the traffic citation numbers and then get that. So I would have to request access from it from my sergeant. Yeah. But the majority of the traffic stops, I know we had a few guys at the 3-way stop. That's getting kind of bad again with people just kind of rolling through the traffic stop signs, speeding. And it's just like the normal stuff, the stop signs, speeding. And I know I had some expired registrations, but majority was going to be at that 3-way stop and speeding.
You want to ask yours first?
I think it'd be useful to have the metrics of
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can formally request that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, and my question would be like, is it already corrected or could it be corrected for future?
Yeah,
you
so-
don't have to dig through again.
Yeah, so I did ask the guys, because I was out at the end of December. And so I did tell the guys if, for the month of January moving forward, to go ahead and put a citation or warning of the offense of the traffic stop.
Mr. Gonzalez, yeah, this is a good snapshot, for December. Starting in 2026, would it be too difficult to have a monthly trend, a monthly reporting that would, where we might be able to see trends over 12 months?
I'm sure we can do something like that. I'm not real tech savvy with Excel or any other type of things, but I can try to find.
I could help you with it. I could come up with a little Excel spreadsheet. We can put these categories and be able to see if there are any trends or not trends,
Right.
and be able to see the full picture for a year.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, do you just like hard code these into like a Word doc table or?
No, so I guess format was passed down to me, so I
Yeah.
can only assume it's been used for a little bit. So there's some times where I eliminate some of the calls for service because we just don't have any of those.
Yeah.
And I just usually go through the whole entire CAD system for that specific month, and everything that's been, call for service as far as 911, even if it's TCSO overnight, I go ahead and just.
Okay, so it's pretty manual. I was just wondering if there's a way to export it and we could do
Yeah, no,
the
so-
graphs if we wanted to track it. If you could like export it into an Excel or a CSV file, we're happy to.
See, yeah, I hope they have something like that. I would assume, because like for me, it'll make
Yeah.
it easier because
Otherwise,
I
I do
do.
like manually.
Yeah, so like when I go through the CAD system, I have to do it every 5 days. If I do it for the whole entire month,
Mhm.
it won't pull it for the month.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
do it in 5-day increments, and then so I had to go through every single one. So
Yeah.
if there is a system like that, heck, I could probably check with the comm center, see if they have something like that, make it easier.
And then under monthly patrol hours, typically, is that just your patrol hours or is that everybody's?
That's just going to be my.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So
assigned for the hill.
do you think Angie, that would be the one that would have access, probably the only one that would have access to total through our billing?
Yeah.
'Cause that'd be interesting to track too. Have you heard any other, I know that the HOA next to the dam and the pond, I forget the name of the HOA,
Mhm.
but they were having issues with
Yeah. So
its,
yeah,
leaving trash.
yeah, we've been out there.
Aggressive with trespassing.
Yeah, so we've been out there a few times. Myself, Deputy West, and Deputy Lopez. So there is that sign right in that grassy area on the left side of the rocks. It says no trespassing private property or something like that. Some of the residents, they don't care that the kids go over there. There's actually just 2 residents that have called and complained, and it's because of the trash. And I think at one point in time, early fall, there were some hooks.
Yeah, hooks.
Out, yeah, and it got into a dog's paw. But some of what I found out that whenever I made the encounters, and even Deputy West, is those kids, they're not residents. So they just walk through the pedestrian gate in Hayden Ridge, and then they come over there and fish. So I've made contact with them and let them know, like, hey, listen, the sign here, you can fish all along the rocks, do your thing here, but just don't go past beyond the sign, because we do have people calling complaining. And the reason why is because they leave clothing items like socks because they get their feet wet. And so they're taking off the shoes, leaving socks, trash, hooks. So during the break, we did have some calls out there. And, we've notified the residents that have called and complained, like, hey, if there is any more further issues, just give us a call. I've given out my card, my phone number, so they can text me anytime. And if I'm not here, they'll call the guard shack. So I would probably say in November and December, we probably 4 complaints out there for the kids going. But like I said, they're not residents. They just walk onto the gate and they start fishing.
Okay.
And then if residents, so what's the process if a resident has cause a reason to want to get a hold of you when somebody's on duty or any of the other constables, like when you're not on duty? What is the best process for that? Is it to call the guard gate and you guys all check in, or?
Yeah, so whenever I'm not there, I always have a deputy go to the front, get a radio from the guard shack. There's times some of the guards will call me because they're not sure if, at shift change, if there's another deputy there.
Okay.
So, but more times than not, they get the radio. Residents, what I advise them to do is call the guard shack. Guard shack will contact us over the radio, and then we'll go there. Because I know there was an issue summertime. Residents would call the guard shack would call 911. I'm like, dude, we're here. That's the reason why we're here. You don't, because they don't dispatch us. We just see it on the map, and then we assign ourselves to the call. So for residents going forward, call guard shack. The guard shack would contact us over the radio, and then we'll go out to the residents and to get dispatched to the call.
But that should be for non-emergency.
Yeah, non-emergency. I was going to clarify.
Well, yeah, non-emergency, but yes, I mean, if anything, but see, that's the thing, like, we've even had some where, for example, this past weekend, there was a resident on, I think it was Still Meadow. Family was gone and they showed up, I'm assuming they went to have dinner. They showed up at home. It was probably like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening. Their front door was open. So we had a deputy here. That was Friday evening. So they actually called the guard shack. Guard shack contacted our deputy. So I would say that should be like a 911 call, open door, never know.
Yeah.
Alarm didn't go off, but that's what they ended up doing. And luckily we had a deputy here and he went ahead and cleared the house and everything was good. So I can only assume maybe they left it, they didn't close it all the way, wind blew it open, but there's nothing, going on there. So yeah.
And so the POA is fine with that process in terms of non-emergency calls going to the guard shack and the guard shack directing. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I
Okay.
just want to be very prescriptive that if it's an emergency thing, call 911 because otherwise if the guards call 911, dispatch will track it to the guardhouse instead of, but right, wrong, otherwise a lot of residents have called the guards to call 911, which seems like an unnecessary speed bump.
Okay. That's helpful. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to 6B, Parks and Recreation Liaison.
So we had our parks meeting last night. A couple of ideas that we talked about. For the playground, we kind of add a take a ball, leave a ball kind of container thing, a la the free little library. So that's in the works. And then somebody noted that on the walking trail, the city loop, Autumn Oaks and Hills Drive, there's like a brick that keeps kind of coming loose. I don't know if somebody keeps driving over it or whatever. So we'll look into that. And then we're also going to provide council kind of a consolidated request of capital improvements. So flagpole, shades, and fans for the pavilion. So that's coming soon. We also wanted to do start the Yappy Hour again. So that'll be Thursday nights starting.
Was that the dog park?
March.
Okay. Okay.
And then finally, last little thing, at the end of last year, we had a little get together combined with the Welcome Commission at the club, right before Christmas. And that was a lot of fun. The club hosted. Thank you to the club. No cost to the city.
Oh, wonderful. Good engagement.
Thank you. 6C, POA Liaison.
So the annual meeting for the POA is next Thursday on the 22nd. There is a board of directors election for 3 open seats. We have 5 candidates. We have already established quorum, so there's been over 27% of the communities voted. Only need 10%. We have executed a contract with an engineering firm, HAF. Thank you, Marty, for the recommendation on that. They're beginning this traffic study at the intersection as well as the operational review with our guards. I think the first meeting is this Friday. The property management firm, CCMC, has been engaged. We're working through the transition. The start date for them will be February 1st. And we have the shared gate logic and enforcement under review with Fort Rock Falls. the big rocks from the POA.
Any questions? Great update. Thank you. All right. Item D, Mud Liaison. That is me. So they had their meeting yesterday. They shifted it early. Focused on three things. First was filling the board vacancy. They reviewed 8 candidates. They still have not made a decision and take a vote yesterday, but they had 8 very qualified candidates, and they've got a criteria that they are going to select it on. 1 is fit, 2 is ability to attend, 3 is technical knowledge, I think is kind of how they were weighting them. But we'll allow them some time before we communicate to the community who they have selected. Second, they also voted to publish a frequently asked questions on their website regarding the consolidation and their perspectives on the consolidation with potential consolidation with the village, including their conclusion at this point, again, preliminary, that the consolidation is not in the residents' best interest. So they are gonna review some final data points and have their council review before they publish that as a frequently asked questions section on their website. And then they also reviewed succession planning and long-term planning, which highlighted the district's in-house technical capabilities, their SCADA automation, and then some maintenance systems, as well as they're participating in a Metron Farnier, who is their, I guess, meter reader or technical, IoT meter provider vendor. They're doing a pilot program with them on some new technology. So that is
Their open seat as an appointment?
their open seat as an appointment. And then they have the election for 3 open seats in November, which is Tom Stiles, Bill Koski, Mike Maroney. All right. City administrator report.
Okay. Basically, we started the audit process, and they're going to be here on the 26th to do on-site auditing. We already sent them several documents that they requested, so this will be a meeting with Gary, Joy, me, with April. So that started. It's going to be, we're going to try to see where we can have that done, because they usually have it in the little conference room set up. So I'm trying to figure out where we can put them with all the meetings going around and stuff. Also, every year we have to do training on the floodplains manager, and I'm the floodplains manager. So I did the training and everything's up to date for the full year. So we're good to go on that. That's basically it.
Excellent. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay, mayor's report. So item I, Lomas Crossing update and POA election. I defer to the POA liaison's update, which was very thorough.
Hold on, we skipped welcome commission.
Oh, sorry about that. I skipped that over to administrator. You're correct.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Yeah.
I'll go for
Go
that.
ahead, Marty.
So we're almost caught up on December move-ins. So far, since we started the commission and started tracking in May, we've contacted 53 out of 64 move-ins. And I've also passed off the brochure draft to the same designer I used for the newly elected officials manual. So I'll have a draft of that soon. And then lastly, little anecdote, my in-laws sat at the Chop House bar, I guess New Year's Eve, next to a couple that moved in May. So they were one of the first couple, like people that we tracked that moved in. And they told them that it was the best move-in experience they've ever had in any neighborhood.
There you go.
Ooh, good feedback.
That's it.
Excellent. Good work. Thank you. Okay, so then mayor's report, item I, Google Fiber update, because people do request periodic updates. Unfortunately, we're kind of at the whim. Well, obviously we're at the full whim of Google. But the last update that they gave us, which was January 5th, so they have not given us a start date for permitting or construction on the hills, but they did confirm that Lakeway is approved and moving toward construction. They did not give dates. But my initial concern was since Bee Cave was still contemplating their micro trenching process, that they may or may not move forward with Lakeway, but it seems as though they will move forward with Lakeway. And given the context in the past that they do not like holes in service, my assumption is that they will continue to push forward with the Hills. In October, I think it was October, they did have various other contractors admitted to the Hills and project managers to continue to evaluate construction process. So no timing, but whenever Google gets around to it, which I don't feel like we're their priority, but I feel as though they are making progress for those interested in that, and we'll continue to update as that moves forward. Okay, moving on to business items.
Kevin, may I?
Yeah, you can ask.
One topic that came up last night was with the Loman's Crossing intersection. Is it worth just making sure we have some sort of future proofing conduit running underneath the road so that, you know, if we are able to bring fiber over from Lakeway, we can do that underneath the intersection?
So you mean literally underneath Loman's Crossing?
Yeah. I mean, they're digging it up anyway, you know.
We can, that can be part of our intersection discussion with them.
Makes sense, right?
Well, it makes logical sense. I agree. Whether they will decide to do that or not. I'm sure if we pay for it, we can do that.
Well,
They've expressed,
technically it's their property up until just the little break in the POA.
well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if Lakeway, this is a Lakeway decision, which we
Yeah.
can bring up to them.
We should check though, because remember we had that water line break. I
Yes.
think that was due to some fiber being, I don't know if it was across our intersection or across the road,
Mhm.
across our entryway, rather.
Right.
So we should, I don't know who, do we,
Yeah.
does that
That was telecom.
go directly to Lakeway? We have the contacts over there.
Yeah, Angie and I can broach the topic.
Yeah.
It's a good point though.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do to future proof it, that combined with half the engineering firm, then
Yep.
I think working with the POA, which they also, just for the community's reference, the POA is working closely with us, and they've continued to push forward the intersection design to make sure that we can do whatever we can to make sure everything remains smooth and operating efficiently.
Mhm.
Okay, 7A, approve the finance treasurer's report for December 2025. Gary, is this you?
Yes, do I make a motion?
Well, you can make you can make a motion and then do your report. You can do your report, make a motion, and we can ask any
Well, I've
questions.
reviewed all the financials. I've got a few thoughts that I've spoken with Angie about that might give us more information. But, the numbers all look right. They're trending the way they should. So I'd make a motion to approve the finance treasurer data that's contained in our package.
A second.
So no variances, nothing out of
No, there
line
were
or
no
anything
variances. I
else.
went through the numbers. I spent probably an hour
Yeah.
going through them and tying them all in. One thing I don't fully understand is there's several layers. And I spoke with Angie about the possibility of having a consolidated report of all the financials versus just the individual segmentations. And maybe I misunderstand how they're laid out, but Angie seemed to understand what I was looking for. But it'd be a snapshot that shows all the numbers.
So you're saying Joy could probably help with
Yeah.
presenting that on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I just saw the segmentation
Mhm.
and I couldn't get the big picture.
P&L. May I ask some line item questions? And Angie, you might be the answer, but I see the irrigation bill for the park was really high in December, but it was dated December 2nd. So it must have been prior to that.
Had
Issues?
Yes, we had
Like-
sprinkler heads out, we,
Okay,
different,
an actual water bill, not the irrigation.
they went out and took care of it themselves without letting me know.
Okay,
But yeah, it was an irrigation issue.
Okay. Oh, so is that not water use? That would be a repair maybe?
Both,
Oh, okay.
because we had a water leak because of the repair that was needed.
Gotcha.
Did they catch the leak or did somebody else catch the leak?
Somebody else caught the leak. And they
So
called.
since last month, I'm signed up for some of the training,
Excellent.
and I had an opportunity to get with Angie and Joy, and we had a good conversation. So I'm starting to ride the bike, I guess.
Excellent. No, thank you. We appreciate you stepping into that role.
And to clarify it, Sarah, the third party called the mud because of the water leak. So that's how it started. They didn't contact the village.
And the mud never communicated to you that they were going. They just went.
They just went.
Okay. Maybe some better communication would be helpful because it was impactful. Do we need to move to?
Oh, yeah. You already made, did you make a motion?
I made a motion, it was seconded.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7B, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding locking the pedestrian gates from dusk to dawn. This is a continuation of our discussion last session. I personally don't have anything else to contribute at this point. I did review our last communications that Sarah had shared recently and that Tom had pulled together while he was on the POA. So I think there's still work to be done around, I mean, my perspective, unless everybody else has a perspective, I suggest we,
I'll just offer that.
yeah,
The Parks Commissioners were unanimous in wanting to lock the pedestrian gates. And then I believe, Angie, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you had some new intel from the Lakeway chief about being able to lock it.
Oh, Truby, the fire marshal, not the fire marshal, but the chief of the fire department. I reached out to him to confirm that we could lock it without any issues, and he confirmed that we can lock it from dusk to dawn, or lock it any time of day.
yeah, from an emergency services perspective.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know, does anybody else have any
We have to put a key.
thoughts right now, or do you want to
Right.
table this to a future discussion after a little additional work?
I think what I would propose is maybe a select committee of
Yep.
sorts to engage with the POA and see how that, just continue that conversation. So then when we come back to the table next time, there's been some type of movement.
Yeah.
Or determination
agree.
there. So I
Who wants to participate?
would assume Marty would, maybe.
Marty and Sarah? And me?
Sure. Unless anyone else wants to take.
Brittany? Do you want to?
Oh,
Because we can do 3.
It's 3.
It's up to you. You don't have to. I'm just giving you the option if you would like to.
I can attend some meetings.
All right. Sounds like Sarah, Carol, Marty, Kate, and Brittany Mykoski are going to be the commission,
Gatewalk-
the gate
gatekeeper.
evaluation, the
Oh, God.
gatekeepers, the gatekeeping commission committee. All right, I like that. Okay, moving on to 7C. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on dates for the deadline for applicants for the Waste Connections Scholarship. Angie, do you want to re-review our Waste Connections Scholarship?
We have, through our contract with Waste Connections, we got the opportunity to give senior from the Hills $1,000 that is awarded through the city council. So they send in their application, the city council reviews it and awards that $1,000 for further education. And Waste Connections does send us that $1,000 for that student. So it's a big plus for our seniors that are looking for extra money for college.
Does Waste Connections select the criteria? I know last year we had like an essay prompt.
We have an essay and I think me and Sarah went through it and it's totally up to the city council to create the
I
criteria.
just pulled it up on our website.
Yeah.
So it's if If we'd like to, we
Last
could
year.
just update the date for the application deadline. But it does state kind of all of the eligibility for the submissions, the judging process, which is completely fair and unbiased. It's blind based essentially. And then how the awards are distributed. It includes an application with very limited questioning, but then it does require a report answering one of 4 questions related to our community and waste management.
And just so you know, when they send in their application to me, I redact their name, so it's totally, nobody knows who it is when y'all are awarded.
Last
When
year's,
you're awarded, Kevin will reach out to the awardee and we will have a city council meeting awarding it.
last year's deadline was April 12th of 2025.
I have a couple of questions. Is there an age limit? Is it only for graduating seniors?
Does the submission is
All right.
12th grade.
Yeah.
12th grade?
Yeah, I can read through I'll read through quickly for everyone last year's, the key points for application. So last year, the deadline for application and required documents was April 12th, 2025. We can reevaluate that. The scholarship award was one scholarship that was to be awarded for the amount of $1,000. Eligibility for high school student submissions in process to complete the 12th grade level in public, private, or homeschooled education. Have a partner or a parent or legal guardian who received trash and recycling services with the Village of the Hills, which is everyone. Plans to attend a university, college, junior college, technical, or trade school to obtain an undergraduate level degree or trade certification, and then submit an application and required documents by the posted deadline. And then might as well read the rest of this. Judging process, applicants and essays are evaluated based on fair and unbiased judging process. Judges are selected by the Village of the Hills. We, as the city council, did a blind vote on it last year. Ensure anonymity of participants and transparent scoring processes. Judges will not see personal information from the application or essay. Applicants' names are unknown to judges until after the results are finalized.
Perfect, thank you.
So assuming we do, and I think we're going to discuss our dates and times for regular council meetings on another agenda item. But we could do similar. I think April 1 would be sufficient timing
Mhm.
for our determination. And we could all, assuming that we want to select it again as a city council, which we can decide right now as well, probably we have sufficient time to review everything in the reports anyway. So if we make a decision on the April city council meeting, I think that would give us enough time and be nice to award people before the end of their senior
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's a Lake Travis High School student, you know, there's a scholarship award event. If a Lake Travis student is selected, we could get them
Yeah, you could do,
publicly recognized.
Additionally.
The Education Foundation that I'm on,
Yeah.
we sponsor a bunch of scholarships, so we could include that. Waste Connections, get some recognition, and the student as well.
I think it's a great idea.
Cool.
Nice.
Do we as a council want to make the decision again? Or do we want to, I assume that we would just
Oh,
make the
like
decision.
For the
Yeah.
selected recipient. Yeah. It was kind of a nice process to know the kids. Well, I move to approve the Waste Connection Scholarship with a deadline of April 1st,
Perfect.
2026.
Nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Motion carries.
How do we communicate the opening of the opportunity and the closing?
So we're going to we should post on the website. Well, we are going to post on the website. We shared it on Neighbor and then we share it on the Hills Facebook page as well. Angie, do we have email list? We can send out stuff by email too sometimes, right?
Yes.
We should just do that as well.
Through the
Okay.
website. Mhm.
I'd like to save D and E for last. let's go ahead and move on to item F. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding dates and times for the city council regular meetings. So in the past, there's been meetings in the evening, and there's been meetings obviously during the day. It did not, from what I understand from others, make an impact on attendance in any way. I think probably just the streaming of videos is probably the most impactful. Do people, and I'm going to let the council decide, do we have a preference for one more, during the day or in evenings? By evening, I mean, call it 6 p.m.
I prefer not changing it.
I prefer not changing it.
I second that.
I don't really care.
Tom, what's your,
I could go, I mean, it's a conflict one way or the other, right? So,
Exactly.
so
Like your
Yeah.
battle.
Lesser of the evil.
is there, did something prompt us within?
No, we just do it every time there's new
Okay.
council members to make sure. We can always change it too. We've changed it in the past. Or if we need to have, like the MUD yesterday, had a meeting not at the regularly scheduled time. So we can always have a special meeting and notice the change and post appropriately.
No, I mean, it's existing scheduled recurrence, right? Keep it.
Okay, does anybody want to propose second Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. as a motion?
I'd like to propose that we keep our meetings the second Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. Suite 102.
I'd actually like, do you have any perspective on the timing of meetings? Is our public attendee? Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. Item G, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding adding a second constable to a new 4-year contract. I understand that Gary, Marty Kate, and Tom Harrelson had attended a meeting with the constable. Wanted to get an overview of the contracts and just the current way things operate. And then it was discussed the potential to add a second full-time constable. I don't know if Marty kind of wants to kick this off.
Yeah, well, I'll just
Yeah.
more context. We just also discussed, spent some time kind of walking through the previously signed contract amendment. We discussed the pricing escalation. The captain walked us through, basically, I mean, even at the end of our cost escalations, we would still be behind today's market rate. So we'll certainly be behind whatever the market rate is 4 years from now. And he doesn't set those costs either. That's coming from the county. And then kind of the topic came up of adding a second full-time constable, assigned constable. And, I was previously under the impression that they were reluctant to do that because if, for whatever reason, if the city council changed the budget and we couldn't support a second constable, then, they'd be stuck with this person that they didn't have necessarily a plan for. That's not the case. So they are very happy to hire and assign a second constable to us. Their concern is that second guy would have to be at the market rate, true market rate. Angie did some homework. So for budget year 24-25, we spent $101,000 on the overtime for the second constable. So I think that's about 20,000 short of what a full-time guy would be.
I think it's 155 was the full-time.
That's fully loaded. Is that fully loaded with the, oh, so that doesn't even include like equipment? Because I know that they charge separate line. Okay.
So it'd be 155.
Wow.
But we don't know what the overlap is.
Yeah.
I don't think.
What's that?
We don't know what the overlap is. Maybe we don't have to pay for as
I think it's worth going through those,
Mhm.
the indirect cost, because that indirect cost was I think the De Leon still owes us, so what that 21% calculation is, and then also the supplies, the equipment.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend,
Grand, $202,000 is the fully loaded cost of an officer.
How much to?
201,702.
Well, I think that's,
That's the fully loaded cost, including vehicles and everything.
yeah, but I don't think we would need another sergeant, right? I don't know if you're, I think there's some details
Well,
that we have to tease out.
Yeah, we pay a share. I mean, in this is paying a share of a sergeant to supervise the individual.
Oh, they're looking at like
This
a
includes
high
the-
level and yeah, okay.
Yeah, 'cause you have a
Their
fractional
overhead.
charge, so they just increase the fractional charge for.
yeah, so I would propose that we get a quote from the constable to see what a second full-time guy would be.
Yeah.
And then we could discuss it at the next meeting.
Well,
Yeah, can we-
I thought,
But I don't know that
I
it's
thought
linear.
Officer Michael said that was the nut that we would have to pay
I don't know
for
that,
a full-time officer.
no, I think that's the market rate, but the question that I would
Yeah,
have is,
correct. That is the market rate. And he
Yeah.
said that if we got a second officer, it would be at the market rate. We continue to have the existing contract plus an officer full nut.
yeah, but we don't know how much would have effectively shared services between the two officers. So we might have a full market rate for the officer themselves, but maybe there's a blended rate for everything else.
What I heard clearly was full nut is what we would have to pay if we got a
Yeah,
second.
so if we
I'm
can,
talking with Marty. I think
Okay.
it's asked for the.
yeah, I think either way. So I think, well, my perspective, we would need one, what the full cost would be for the second constable. I assume that would be an extra 40 hours.
Yeah.
And then we would need how many hours, for example, we were able to get with 101,000. I mean, that would be helpful information in my mind. And then it would be, I don't know how much we can get, but it would be interesting for us to understand the gaps in service in terms of days of the week, time that we would actually like to increase our hours if that's what we would all decide to do. That's kind of my framework, how I would think about it, but
What
obviously,
what I'd appreciate layered on that is historical reference. So we're talking future, but historically, because I think at the end of the day, we're going to compare dollars, right? By doing 2 full-timers, we're leaving out, that's 80 hours a week, right? We're leaving out 88 hours of uncovered. So the majority of time is not covered. Let's draw it back in the last year or two and see how many hours were covered versus uncovered.
that's
I
exactly.
think that would be
Yeah.
really important to match.
Yeah, I think,
Because I don't want to lose anything by
Yeah, no,
paying
for sure.
more.
okay, I'm following. So if the 101,000 was at a low rate, we could potentially have gotten more hours.
If
40.
if we were actually able to.
Yeah.
Because with that full-time constable, do we have a need for the full hours? So we have right now, call it 40 plus
However
whatever,
many.
120, right? So then we go from 40 to 80 and we saw a requirement for an extra 80 hours a month. That's going to be still a cost that we have if we're
Mhm.
paying that cost, if we need that cost.
A week.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, if we're still needing OT on top of it.
Yeah, if we need
So-
OT on top of it, and that adds to the cost, then we got to compare that. But I think it's just, we need the total cost. And then if there's in fact a gap that can justify us having an incremental fixed cost. That's how I would think about it.
So Angie, Officer, does the constable's office track? I know we see paychecks. I know those are assigned a dollar value. I don't think that they remark on the quantity of hours, but maybe in the invoicing somewhere, it shows hours.
Yes.
So there could be a fund view. We could use our software to go through and figure out the amount of hours we've paid for
I can do that.
OT in some way. Maybe Joy could help as a Joy project.
Right now, we've got a pretty sweet deal.
24.
Well, yeah, if there's no reason to mess with it right now, we get sufficient.
And then
Yeah.
We've got a real sweet deal.
Budget versus hours.
And if you look at the cost per productive hour,
Exactly.
here versus what we pay in overtime. We're paying $77 per hour in overtime every time we need incremental support. The full nut is $113 per productive hour. So there's $36 an hour. Better deal we get having variable incremental policing than committing to full time at this point.
Yeah. And I think the reason we would want to commit, if we were to want to commit, would be if there were to be an unmet need in incremental hours.
Yeah. But I get what Marty's saying. There is a lot of overtime there. We're not, it's not a moonshot to get to 201, but the cost per productive hour is
Just the math
substantial.
problem. Yeah, it's just the
Exactly.
math problem.
All right.
We'll look at that.
Yeah. So
The other thing is just that the overtime hours, how many of them were volunteer hours versus Angie requesting for special events? Because that should be a factor that we weigh too, is getting a guaranteed 80 hours versus 40 plus whatever people pick up.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Marty probably has a better handle on the operational side, or you all have a better, I'm just looking at the financial side.
That makes sense.
I understand Marty's point, and I understand dollars per hour as well.
Sounds like topic for
Sounds
next
like-
meeting and continued research.
Do you three want to continue the evaluation and data gathering? We can all obviously help Angie gather data. This is going to be a big data exercise, but it's probably worth doing since this is a big decision, something that goes to a large portion of our budget.
To mention, the Village of the Hills is one of the safety communities around. So thank you to the constable's office.
Yeah.
Okay, items D and E are part of a similar discussion, but we'll keep separate. D, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding 2025-017 ordinance regarding the use of the city's logo.
I think we might need to punt this till next week. Josh and I connected offline. I think it's too difficult to create an agreement that has some sort of compensation on an individual level, because the fear is, let's say a roofer gave us, $5,000 to make hats or whatever with the city logo, then you can make the point that that roofer is going to have a hard time winning contracts, and they're not being like bad optics of, oh, they won the contract because they made the donation. So perhaps the better thing to explore is we assemble the basket, and then the entirety of the basket has kind of the list of sponsors in the same way that like the park had fundraisers and we listed all the sponsors there.
I think I'd be more comfortable with that. Do we need, Josh, so we have a city license agreement. We probably need, so regardless of the sponsor thing, we probably need to, well, one is I know Angie was working on the trademark stuff for the logo. And then do we need a separate agreement for people? If we were to, well, do we even need a license agreement separate from the ordinance, or the ordinance separate from the license agreement as of now, separate from this?
Yeah, so when we first, the license agreement and ordinance also has enforcements for unauthorized use of the
Yeah,
logo.
which we
So
want.
we do need that
Yeah.
piece of it as to bootstrap to the trademark issue. And then, as Marty and I were talking, home rule cities have much broader authority to do, licensing of their merchandise and things, but it still has to be tied to a particular program of the city, right? So we typically would see that with souvenir shops around parks and pools, or, related to hotel and visitors bureaus, those kind of things, right? And that's where we typically see that. And so we just need to, and when I did the logo licensing agreement the first time, I misunderstood and thought that was because that was required by the company that was going to produce your logo on a product, and they wanted that. What Marty's saying is, and you can potentially license products with your logo on them, but it can't be, again, it has to be tied or should be tied to to a government purpose, right?
Yeah.
Program. It can't really just be a general source of revenue. So those are just kind of the guardrails. And, for general law cities, there's not a lot of legal guidance out there. It's more implied, implied authority, right? There's no statute that says you can absolutely do this. There's a statute that says you can, manage your property and your personal property that you buy and things. So, we kind of have to extrapolate that and say we have implied authority, but we just need to, discuss the guardrails, and maybe we can just bring that back.
I have a question. So if we put if you give that list and they donate the money, can we create like a park fund, like Shades at the Park or whatever fund, and then that's what everyone would donate to? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, you can take donations like that.
Or just donations?
Yeah, my concern more is that number one is the appearance of proper endorsement, right? If you have one product that has one sponsor on it,
right,
I don't know how you can not read that sort of as an endorsement. And, that's what I think that you can avoid. The other issue is if you give money, to have, to sponsor something, and then that vendor then has business with the city or even the POA, there's that issue that it's a, pay to play situation, right? Which involves, bribery and some other kind of penal code things. So we just have to make sure that we stay within those guardrails. And now that I have a better understanding of, what y'all are trying to do, we can look and see, okay, is it just a general sponsorship and, acknowledgement the way to go, right? And we give that vendor an acknowledgement of their donation to the city, and they can use that for tax purposes and things or whatever. But
I think in some ways that makes it easier. So if the Welcome Commission is compiling this basket, then it's really up to them to go buy the components of the basket. And then it's, as far as the vendors, like if you want your name on the little brochure or whatever, it's, 5,000, whatever it is across the board. And then we don't have to set prices either. It's just, we set one price to be on I guess we can have tiers too, but you're not doing it on an individual basis.
this is a donation to the city.
Good.
All right.
So yeah, but at some point we do need to go circle back and do the ordinance for the logo protection for sure, in addition to whatever licensing.
Should we request or ask those who are looking at the gate, the Loman Gate changes, to change the logo there as well? It's got the kind of the old Hills thing. It doesn't have.
Yeah, but I think it's the POA's logo slash.
Would it be possible that you could just say it'd be a good idea to replace the logo with the village logo?
I think that's where you have the overlap of everything, right?
What's that?
You have the overlap of everything. You got a club in here, you've got the POA, you got we want the mud logo on there.
Yeah.
So right now that logo that's on the gate, off to the side is the POA logo,
Okay.
not to be conflated with the village logo.
And it's on property owned by the POA. I will add to that, or on a tangent of that, I did a sign inventory yesterday, and I noticed that there were some old signs that still had our old logo, and those are in process to get replaced, like the golf cart crossing signs. Actually, a sign leaving Loman's that it actually is in disrepair, so it's going to be completely replaced about the U-turn kind of thing. But yeah, if you see anything with an old logo on it, highlight those and we'll get
Does
those.
the POA
out.
need to have their own separate logo?
I think that's a separate issue.
I was just thinking that the city of Boston just changed things from something that was 1914 to something a bit more contemporary, and all the departments and affiliated bought into the brand. Anyway, just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can talk, but I'm happy to carry that over to the POA for them to decide if they would like to have any consideration on that. But I think that's just the nature of the community that we live in, that we have a lot of shared entities that have the exact same footprint. And so we're kind of breaking into a different territory of like putting different disparate logos onto, while you're entering in the Village of the Hills, you're also entering into the POA, you're also entering into a golf course community, you're also entering into a mud governed. So signage, I think it's been for 40 years, signage has been disparate intentionally. And evaluate if there's a consideration for changing signage for entering into the village.
Awesome.
Sounds like you could go to the meeting and make that public comment.
And
Community rebrand.
a community rebrand, uniformed rebrand. Sorry, I forgot that was recorded.
All right.
Okay. Unless anybody has any legal questions, I don't think we need an executive session.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 9, announcements and requests, new business items to be included on the next agenda. Given the amount of work, I'm going to guess that we need law enforcement to be kicked down the road, probably, definitely not the next meeting, I suspect. We can keep that back pocket. The logo ordinance, we can determine, I think, in a bit if we can add that onto the next meeting or not, if that'll, the ordinance itself, to see if that'll be ready. But we can hold off on that for now. Is there anything else anybody can think of or would like to add for new business onto the next meeting?
I would like to add an opportunity for us to discuss the plans for wildfire mitigation, to start planning for that for the summer. And Angie, in the meantime, I'll connect with you and see if we can't get some data and details to have prepared for the next meeting.
Okay.
Nothing else? Okay, well, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
So you're making a motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye, all opposed, motion carries. It is 10:07 a.m. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, thank you. Did they give you a timeline on Lumens?
If you click bottom right,
No.
bottom middle, in stream.
This